It's happening. Bring it in. We used to do a thing that we didn't really call it the Dad Pod, David, but younger people who worked with us who didn't yet have children called it the Dad Pod, where it was just the two of us, and we would talk about a lot of things, but sometimes our children. And this is going to be a little like that. It's a little bit of a Dad Pod today. How you doing, Dad?
Okay, my twins are 19. Our twins, Chrissy and I's twins are 19 today. I haven't seen them. I've texted with them. They're going to come home at some point.
Oh,
Yeah, there's video. Yeah, so I've asked them to hang out some with their mom and I tonight for dinner and maybe play a family game or something. Not easy to do. They're busy doing their thing. The beaches are open here, so they tend to go there most nights. But it's amazing, 19 years, as I said to my wife this morning. We've been together a long time. We have 19-year-old twins. Pretty incredible.
congratulations. So I guess if you ask a kid what they want for their 19th birthday, the answer is not time with you. That's how that goes.
Exactly. That's why the message I sent them this morning, besides some loving thoughts, were please take some time to hang out with your mom.
Yeah.
Because she needs to be with you guys tonight. So
Yeah.
it wasn't hard. She's bribing my son with steak. I'm going to get sushi for my daughter because Max can't eat fish. And it's gonna be a fine dinner. Looking forward
That's
to
fun.
it.
Well, congratulations to them.
Thank
They're
you.
amazing kids, and they're going to college whenever they have.
Max leaves in weeks. Yeah, Rachel leaves the end of summer, but Max leaves in a few weeks. So yep.
Do you just cry all the time?
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay.
No, right now it's still we're in good times, but yeah, it's coming, buddy. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. So we don't have a guest today for a reason which may be misguided. But the thing was, like yesterday, there was news first by Woj that basically July 31st, the proposal is set. The Board of Governors will vote on it today, then it'll go to the players later in the week. But yeah, here you go. So basically, Woj said the NBA's back, and it seemed like maybe for a second after grueling day after grueling day of talking about coronavirus and George Floyd, maybe we should talk about basketball, which we've done a lot of in our lives. We used to be basketball writers, me and you.
I remember very fondly. Yes.
Then we made some preparation. We made this document preparing for today, and we both found it was incredibly hard to give a crap about whether Memphis or New Orleans or Sacramento or San Antonio or Portland was going to make the 8th seed in the West. It's just so hard to care about that.
Yeah, it's a crazy time, and as I said to you before we came on before we brought it in with everyone else, as dads, right? We know how to balance this. What's best for our children long term? What's best for them short term? How is their health at risk? So we know how to balance that. I don't know that we know that we're right ever, right? Our kids want to go out and maybe stay out till midnight when they're 18. Well, they've never done that before, and yet we know they're 18 years old. They could fight in a war, obviously. That's the line everyone uses. And so we can't just always keep them in all the time. I feel the same way about these players right now. I know they want to play. It's not just about money for them. It's what they do. They want to get back to their routine and on and on and on. On the other hand, I think partly because of Bring It In and who we're talking to every day, I'm voraciously absorbing sobering information regarding the virus. The George Floyd thing is a separate thing, which only dispirits me even more, and you too. The virus is still a very big concern. I read Baxter Holmes's article. I don't know if you saw that regarding the foreign players.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I didn't know this. Who is Bellinelli's dad is a doctor in Italy. And he just said bad things, which is what I'm hearing from all my friends over there, even back then. And so I keep thinking about that, right? Your words haunt me. What if someone dies? I can't get past that. Forget about the tragedy of the individual and his family. I don't forget it, but ignore that for just a moment. What happens to the rest of the league for a year?
Yeah.
And we want the NBA to exist, Henry. Where does that league stand in terms of moral acceptance nationally if something tragic like that happens? I don't know the answer to it, but it's unnerving me for sure.
I think that to me, there's a little bit. Well, actually, one person I'd love to talk to, this is just occurring to me now, is I think I'm right in saying that her name is Michelle Carter Scott. And that is Vince Carter's mom. And now I'm going to further test my crappy memory and say that I think she's a public school official in Orlando.
She was a principal for many years that I knew. She was a principal. Yeah, very, very erudite.
No, she's not still. She's
Okay.
not still. I think it's right.
No, she's retired, I'm sure now.
Somehow I ended up like standing next to her, or I sat at a table with her at an event, and she's who you want to hear from on everything.
Yeah.
But okay, so Vince could be just retired. Great career. We're done. Or Michelle, I'd like to know as a parent, right? Just as you're worried about your kids going on the beach at midnight, like, would you recommend that Vince, who, as far as we know right now, is healthy and has a wonderful post-playing career ahead of him, happy guy, like, do you want him to go into this experiment? I mean, yesterday, as Ari Caroline's on the show talking about the scientific risks, Jarod's in the comments like, just sounds awful. Like, the risks just sound awful. Why are we doing this, right? And I would like to, I don't know how many Michelles there are out there who are calling their kids right now and saying, like, what are you doing? Like, we're not ready, right? It's not, we are actually in history. We're in a little phase between when the pandemic began and we didn't have good treatments. Like, in this little phase, do we have to do this? Like, I'm not saying I'm against it. And Jane McManus, who was been on the show and who I think you and I just revere.
Yeah.
Jane reminded me of something I said. She was like, maybe it'll be fine. Right? Like, the Bundesliga seems to be fine. Like, there's a chance it'll be great. Maybe it's fine, but hope isn't a plan. Right?
No, hope is not a plan. First of all, you've named two women that if you told me they were going to be the next president of the United States, I'd be so happy. So I'd be leading the parade route, let me tell you, marching and everything. They're very amazing ladies.
Yeah.
I did have one funny thought. I just kind of pick up on what Jane said. I'm witnessing packed restaurants where I live. The idea in the document that you shared, I believe they're saying it's okay for players to eat outdoors at Orlando restaurants. I live 90 minutes from my front door. I could be at Disney World. I could be shaking Mickey Mouse hand in exactly 90 minutes. It is incredibly hot and humid, but when you get to July, no one is eating outdoors in Florida unless something's wrong with them. So that's not going to be happening. Okay, not at 9 o'clock at night, not at 4 in the morning when it's just sticky humid. Typically, obviously, we have exceptions here and there. But I'm telling you, Henry, right now in my state, people are eating at restaurants, good amount. Some of them are outdoors, many of them are indoors. I'm only guessing because I see the parking lots and I know there's no outdoor seating at these restaurants. I'm not going in one. I've not been in a restaurant inside except for to pick up food since March the 8th, March the 7th.
Are there mask rules?
I don't know. I'm not walking inside, but I know, I think the service industry has mask rules, but not the eating part. I saw one guy say he just puts a hole in his mask when he drinks everything out of a straw. I thought it was funny. So here's my point, Henry. It's possible that given how crazy, our federal government, I think, has just washed their hands of the whole thing. It'll be fine. I think they've ignored it. So, Henry, it's possible that this bubble might be a safer place for these guys to be than what I'm seeing. Obviously playing 5-on-5 is bad. So if you got all the players to agree they stay inside all the time, clearly that's the safest route. But if they all are interested in trying to do what the rest of the country's doing, the bubble's better if they do the testing and all the other things. It's nuts right now what's happening, as if nothing's going on.
I guess. But look,
I'm not saying it will. I'm saying it's possible given what I'm seeing.
But look, the point isn't like the rule or the habit. The point is how many exposures to how many molecules of the virus do you receive?
Right.
And so they're screwing it all up over here. It means more for you, the NBA player or the Greg Popovich or whatever, right? And we're also not going to have good protocols in the bubble. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that it's happening crappy over here makes it even worse to go over there, right? Like that means that it's much more likely that the person who delivers the bread to the bubble will bring some coronavirus with the bread, right? Like to me, everyone who does it badly makes it worse for everybody else, right? So to me, like the word that people generally aren't doing it well makes reopening the NBA a worse idea, not a better one.
I do think that should be one of their. Obviously you got to protect the players and the testing and all that, but that bubble is going to be pierced. I'm the one to keep saying Jurassic Park, and the likelihood it gets pierced goes way up given what's already happening now. We're June 4th. by July 15, I think I haven't looked to see when Disney actually opens, but the state is open now, more or less. There is limits to how many you can eat in restaurants, and beauty salons are open for sure. But again, at a limited number. I think by mid-July, it's going to be everyone acting as if things are normal. We might be at 150,000 dead, by the way, by that point, or more. In fact, we probably will be, or more. Yeah, these are our governor's phases that Judy's showing on the share screen. So you're not wrong. The risks out of the bubble they're only going up, not down. Our state, I think, is flatline, give or take, which to me is not a good thing. You hope to see a downward trend like in New York is happening. And we just keep adding more and more. We're not surging up, which makes some sense, but it's not going to get lesser as we open up more. I think we can say that. At the very least, we're going to continue to add more and more. There's a lot of risk to it. I'm definitely concerned. If they said they weren't going to play, I would understand that totally. And I'm rooting for that, actually.
Should we try to talk basketball for a second? Let's see if we can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they're going to play games, we're gonna have to watch the games. Like, it's what we do.
Yes. So Tom Ziller had
anyway.
a nice little
yeah.
First of all, I thought when this news happened yesterday that today the world would be over. The basketball world would have a ton of like basically playoff preview type content. I thought that would be the only thing anybody would want to talk about. But I'm surprised there really isn't that much. But,
I've already seen one.
Yeah,
I only saw one.
So
Kevin
Tom
Pelton
Ziller, I thought this was interesting. So the excitement right now would be who's going to get that 8th spot in the West. There's some innovation. I don't think anyone thinks the Wizards are going to get in the East. Maybe they will. I don't know. So reading Tom Ziller, fans of West non-playoff teams going to Orlando really should not get their hopes up about the playoffs. In all likelihood, one of the 4 teams closest to Memphis, sorry Phoenix, will earn a shot to beat them twice. Holding team quality and strength of schedule equal, and assuming none of the 4 catch Memphis for number 8, these teams, Portland, Sacramento, New Orleans, and San Antonio, each have about a 6.25% chance of making the actual playoffs. This is calculated by giving each team 25% odds of being the number 9 seed and 50% odds of beating Memphis in each of 2 games, which makes 25% odds of sweeping Memphis over 2 games. It's a tough sled. I just said a lot there. Just to make it clear, they're going to play 8 games of the regular season, and if any teams are close to Memphis, close to that 8th spot, then they'll have to beat them twice in a row. And Tom is saying basically, probably not going to happen. What's your take?
Well, I think there's only one team that is the true wild card. You want to guess the team?
I think it might be the gift of the Great Northwest, the Portland Trailblazers.
Yes. Why, Henry?
Well, David, I'm so glad you asked.
You're the analyst.
They have Damian Lillard, who we don't think will come back fat because he's sort of a self-motivated guy.
I love that. Yeah.
And they will be a Yusuf Nurkic team after the pandemic.
They're the only team getting a gigantic, talented player that didn't play all year.
Yeah.
So good luck telling me how good he's going to be. I just have no idea. I don't know what he's been doing. And I don't know when he can start doing more. There normally is a hell of a learning curve. Long ago, my brother that Mike told me, figure a year. No matter what the surgery is, if it's significant surgery, it's a year before they really return to where they were. And my experiences with players in lower body injuries, surgeries, that's about right. It's about a year. So we're not going to get prime Yusuf Nurkic, but he's better than what they probably had before. If he'd probably be better, but they still have who's going to be. If you think he'll start, for example, who would be his backup?
Hassan Whiteside.
Right. So not terrible. So they're going to have an upgrade for 48 minutes at 5, I would think. That's not nothing, right? Lillard has a gym. I think it's funny. I think the advantage is going to be the people who've been in the gym all this time. Like, I don't think Damian missed any time except to get healthy. That's a positive.
And there, I mean, he's seeing whatever he's seeing. Lillard is, right? But he's the player. He's the only one who was like, I'm not coming back unless we have a path to the playoffs, which is a pretty big, like, that's pushing a lot of chips in on.
It's a big statement.
Going to make the playoffs, right? Or I damn sure I'm excited about trying, right?
Yeah.
That's not the same as like, well, you never know who's going to win or give a great effort. Like, no, he's saying like, Like,
I
oh,
like that voice. You have a very lovely singing voice.
thank you.
Sound like Seinfeld. Right. He's like, okay, let's go.
Oh, David, you see what just happened here?
Jarod's here, yeah.
You guys, Jarod was not here today because he got a root canal, but he's back. Like, yeah. Do you want to Willis read this, Jarod? Do you want to come on right now? Up to you, man. You have the root. Are you on drugs? Are you going to be amusing?
No. I'm not going to be amusing. It's my Willis Reed moment. Randy's like, come on, you got to do it. I'm still wearing off Novocaine, so not a whole lot of things to talk about. But,
we're just inspired to play at our best because you're here.
I love TrueHoop. What can I say?
Yeah, no. How'd the root canal go?
Dentistry is a really, and David, I know you know because your dad is my two uncles and my papa, my grandfather. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. Like the things that like go on in there and the roots. I'm like, she's showing me X-rays. I'm like, let's get this thing out of here and just fix this thing. I don't want to deal with it. Like, but it's never all in one process, right? So they got to do the temporary crown, and then you get the real crown done if they go to the lab and all that crap. But seems like it was okay. We had a couple painful moments. I think she hit the nerve a couple times. I was like, God damn it. Like, you never see like a movie where like the person kicks up the tray of all the utensils in front of them? I thought I was this close to kicking it when she hit me on one of them. But otherwise, all things considered, I can't complain. I'm all right.
I was going to work one day years ago and had and then the dentist called with like, oh, why don't you come in now? We had a cancellation because I had some tooth pain or whatever. And next, I had a root canal like 5 minutes after I showed up at the dentist. They're like, and I'd never had anything done like that. And I could smell smoke and like feel things happening way down here. And then sure enough, like 90 minutes later, I'm in a business meeting. I'm just like, is this what happened? Like, what the hell?
It's so crazy. It is bizarre. But look, we're thankful that we have modern advances and everything's all cool. But you guys are chatting NBA returning, I think, right?
We did. We're trying. It's an experiment to see if we can go like 10 minutes talking about actual basketball. We couldn't. We're gonna fail. Let's see if we can do it.
Coach, happy birthday to the Twins.
Thank you.
Oh my God, Jarod's so good at this game.
We were talking about how Portland's the only team fighting for a playoff spot that can be significantly different than they were during the season because of Nurkic's return. Yeah. And as Henry said to me on the phone before we got on air, we know Damian Lillard isn't fat. His point is the dude's in shape. He's motivated. He has his own gym.
He didn't start smoking.
Yeah. He's going to unleash the half-court three with 16 seconds on the clock. It's coming.
I like it.
This is the time to do it, Damian. We all should be tweeting that hashtag half-court threes with time on the clock or whatever.
I'll say something
else.
Have
you guys seen so it's a play-in for the number 8 seed, right? That's the way it's looking right now.
So it's a little confusing, but my understanding is, as proposed and not yet voted on by anybody, it would be that they play 8 games, and if a team is within, if the 9th place team is within 4 games of 8, then they have to beat the team that's in 8 twice in a row to get their spot.
It's kind of unfair to Memphis, right? If Memphis is able to hold on to that 8 seed and have that 4 or 5 game lead, what if that team gets hot for 2 games and then beats them? Then you know what I mean? Like,
I just read this Tom Ziller thing where he's kind of doing the math on that, and he's like, he rates it about a 6.25% chance that any one of those teams gets Memphis's spot.
Okay.
So it's not because, you have to. So he's right. Any one team getting it. The one thing that strikes me though is in running, something I would love to turn our whole show into a show about running if I could. In running, if one person in the race has a huge lead and the person behind them is a single person, like not going to catch it. But if it's 5 people, somebody in that 5 might have the day of their lives, right? And if it's 16 people, that person out front is doomed, right? Because somebody's done something right and it's just going to cook them, right? So the one thing that's out Memphis is like they have a pretty big pack nipping at their heels, and it seems unlikely that nobody's going to luck into a great 8.
It's like that idea in golf, right? Like how many is it about how many strokes you have to gain, or is it how many people I have to pass to get to the lead, right? Like,
strokes. You'd rather have more strokes than more people,
right?
That means you have to outplay everybody. If you don't have to outplay everyone, you just have to hope you play well and the guy in front of you plays badly, and that's it. Memphis is good. I told Henry, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting study into how teams have handled the pandemic. Have they found ways to collectively connect more? Unlike what Florida State football just did. We can talk about it more tomorrow. I don't know if you saw it, Henry. I want to talk about it on our Friday with Jarod's show, but basically, I won't go into more than this. He announced that they're having these great Zoom meetings regarding the Floyd killing, and meanwhile, one of his best players said, "You sent one generated text message to everybody. There's been no other discussions about it, and we're not coming back to practice now."
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So that right there, this is the other thing. So, actually, our friend Sirit, I was on the phone with her last night, and we were talking about all the stuff you talk about at a time like this, and but one of the big topics was like, so the players will have to approve whatever plan. Let me stop right there. What do you think? Like, are they going to approve whatever the billionaires come up with tonight?
Well, I listen to what you said, which is they already know. It's like you don't ask a question to a witness if you're not sure what the answer is going to be.
Yeah,
it seems like that deal's been brokered. It makes sense that it would be. I thought Chris Paul had been real involved. You think you're probably way more right than me. LeBron is in charge. He is. It's his league. So yeah.
I think LeBron has a veto, right? I think that if LeBron were to go on Twitter and say this deal's unfair, then it's just not gonna.
I think it's a good way to put it. I think it's a great way to put it. Almost like a line item veto, by the way.
Yeah.
Change that, and we're fine. But you've got to change that.
For sure. It is the advantage, though, that Iger is basically BFFs with Chris Paul, right? And it's like talking to him directly about, look, here's what you say to them, and this is what you get them to do, and right, like, and of course, all the obvious, ties there, right? ESPN and ABC are owned by Disney, which happens to be the NBA's biggest broadcast partners. It's like it's all,
So it's one of those bills that like they present to the floor of the House when they know how many votes they're going to get in the Senate, and the president's going to sign it, right?
Right.
But the one thing I would say, and by the way, like, Michelle and Adam have a history of working all of this stuff out, like, very quietly. And Adam is no way he's presenting anything to the Board of Governors that he doesn't know he will get the players to sign off on, is my take. However, I'm using my finger in an important way. Everything's crazy now, right?
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get people to vote against their own income in anything, right? So usually the way every labor thing goes with basketball is basically at some point the owners are like, but don't you want some money? And then at some point the player's like, yes, thank you, I'll take the money. And exactly what's in the small print isn't such a concern, right? So that's where we are. But could there be some higher holy calling kind of thing that happens this week, this June, of all Junes, right? Between Tuesday, Wednesday, and let's say Thursday? I don't even know.
It's Thursday.
Between whatever today is. And when the players vote on this, like, I think the answer is yes. There could be some, there's certainly could be a George Floyd related rallying point if the owners or the league or Disney or somebody looks out of step. I think that now's a moment when players are ripe to be called in a bigger way than their own incomes. What's your take?
I think you're right.
I was thinking about this too. This is the first time that I'm ever aware of, besides All-Star break, which is such a different thing, All-Star weekend, where you're going to have almost all the league superstars and 2/3 of all the players in one small community. They can do some fucking amazing things with the amount of attention they're going to be getting as the only pro league maybe playing at then. Baseball hasn't even figured it out yet. Wow, are they going to have a platform really like never before?
And I'd love to see them do something around what's going on with the protests and everything while they're doing it. It's like, all right, we're going to come out here and make this money, but also while we're making this money, hello, Betsy DeVos in your backyard. Here's what we're going to talk about, right? Like, that would be incredible.
Where does she live? I don't know where she lives.
They could do some pretty, right now, Maverick Carter could be cutting a deal with HBO or CBS or whatever, saying, hey, we want an hour, and it's going to be an NBA extravaganza, panel discussion, whatever. They could do, I don't know if they will. And they're not going to be that busy. There's only, how many gyms? 2?
Three.
They're playing
no,
it?
a bunch.
Oh, they're using a lot?
There's three arenas to play.
3 facilities, but I think that they can have like 2 simultaneous NBA games going on plus practices.
Right. Yes, but only 2. That's what I meant. 2 arenas where they're playing the games. So there's always going to be 18 teams available, even during game time. Forget about all the other hours when no one's playing. But, I just was thinking about that.
But David, okay, you're opening my eyes to an essential part of this. Like, and I'm sure this is all in the language too. NBA players don't often control their time, right? So like LeBron can't decide, after practice today, I'm going to go do an HBO thing, right? Like he's on the clock for more than his playing time. And especially like, I know, for instance, like rookies, you think you're having the day of your life when you fly to New York to get drafted, but you're like, wear this shirt, go to this playground, clean up that thing, get interviewed by that guy. Like by the time we would get them at the, this is an NBA bus with NBA minders shoveling rookies to media members like me, right? And I'm like, and every time the first question is, how are you doing? They're like, I am exhausted. And then it's, my whole family flew here and I haven't seen them in 48 hours, right? And on and on. Like, there's a fair amount of language contractual control of players' time and which media entities they can appear on and not all that stuff. I bet you that this thing you're describing has been. I bet you it's not possible. I would guess.
You think they're going to disallow it? Like no congregation? I mean, that's a big deal. Like, that's a big story too. If they're not going to allow them to assemble.
No, it's not that they can't assemble, but like Disney's paying billions of dollars for a media product from Disney. You think they're also just going to be like, oh yeah, and our competitors can have media products from here too, no problem. Like, I don't think so. I don't see that happening.
That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah.
Bilal is asking, how does media work? So Bilal, I actually know exactly how it's going to work from the Professional Basketball Writers Association, which I'm a member of. I can't tell you specifics, but what I will say is that it's going to be extremely limited. And you can imagine what that means. I would guess, and this is the part. This part is just me guessing, that their partners, so ESPN, ABC, Turner, they're going to get, for lack of a better term, right of first refusal in terms of getting inside and the access, and then it'll be all varied from there.
It'll be like this, right?
Yes, that's what I think.
Like, I don't know. In my view, like it's been a long time since the official access was the valuable access, right? Like you don't like find out what's really happening on the 76ers from hanging out in the locker room after the game.
No.
Right? Like most of the stories come from that phone. And I think they're still going to have phones.
Like riding the team plane and, like Sam Smith used to do. Like that's where you get the good stuff.
Yeah. Do you think there'll be announcers in the arena? Because when I watch the games in Europe, I've never seen an announcer in the arena, even for EuroLeague games. I think they're in a studio calling it. Do you think that's how it'll be?
They might do that, or they might, depending on how the arenas are set up, I don't know. There might be, if they have an upper level, it might be one of those things where they do it from not down on the floor, but up in that section.
Yeah, there's only a few. There's no play-by-play guys that young, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
they're not going to be on the floor. Ruco's like a little bit younger. He's probably around my age or a little bit younger. So Ruco, I guess.
One. Like Ruco.
I don't remember which report I saw, but one of the reports I saw said that there would be PA announcers.
Let's just
like introducing the lineups and saying,
right, 2 people.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah, right, exactly. I will say this. I don't know if we're gonna get you. Do you want to get to discussing the actual potential games and who might be better? Or do you want to skip that?
Let's try. See if
because I keep thinking this, and I'm happy to say that I have no clue, but it's just an instinct that I have that the team that have the most stars are going to have a huge advantage, and I feel like the Lakers are the favorites. No one's going to be as good as they typically are, and I think blue chippers even have more of an advantage then. So LeBron and Anthony Davis, that combination with Danny Green, who is a superstar in the way he plays, I favor them over the Clippers and the Bucks. So I think those 3 are the best teams.
Yeah, my with things of basketball, I tend to defer to you. I will say, The reason why I give the Clippers a slight edge is that I think that they can dial up a level of defense when they are all connected that even the Lakers can't match. Like, I think defensively, the Clippers can get so – when they put out on the floor Pat Bev, Kawhi, Paul George, like that is a monster. Like, you know, they can – for 5 minutes, you might not score, right? Like, and that could be the difference in the 108 to 106 game or whatever the final score ends up being. But, you know,
I looked at the numbers and was really, really sure Hillary Clinton was going to win the 2016 election. I'm about that sure that the Bucks are going to win. So what does that tell you?
But you felt really, yeah, true. You felt really good about the Bucks last year, which so did I. I get it. They were, and quite frankly, you know, they could have won the whole thing, right? They just got caught in a little. Well, Jarod said this earlier. If these games are coming faster and faster, if you're in a bit of a rut, by the time you wake up, you're done. You're down 3-1. Like there's not much time. If they're going to be playing almost like every other day, which I don't think we've seen that schedule. I just got a schedule from what they're doing in the top league in Spain. I got that this morning, and they're going every other day, which is very unlike anything they do in Europe, which is very rarely. First of all, it's never back-to-backs. It's normally the EuroLeague teams will play during the week, and then they'll play the domestic games on the weekend, and that's it. So this is an amped-up schedule for them, just for a couple weeks. But
well, one front office guy said to me, he's like, you know, he doesn't know what's going to happen, this, that, but the one thing he's sure of is glutes, hamstrings, and calves. He's like, that's, you know, it's just there's no way they're going to be working right? Like, there's no way. We're just going to have a whole bunch of those injuries, and the intense game schedule will not help that.
Coach, I'm doing that thing that I talked to you about with the Bucks. Like, I'm not worried about Giannis. Like, I don't know what it is. My brain won't let me be like, okay, I'm good with the rest of you guys. I don't know what it is. I can't, like, accept that everybody else is going to be good in the playoffs. Like, Giannis, I'm okay. I trust him. I literally trust nobody else on that team.
Well, that's because you've not been given reason to in postseason. That doesn't mean they won't start suddenly doing it, right? Pascal Siakam had never been good in the NBA Finals before. Fred VanVleet had never been good in the Finals before. Like, that, we have to allow for that to happen. Last year, Eric Bledsoe sucked. Really, when it comes down to it, Bledsoe sucked. I'm a huge fan. I think he was one of the guys I thought might really stand out in the playoffs. He just couldn't get it going early. And going back to what you initially said, Jarod, about getting hot, when you're on the snide, so to speak, when things aren't going well and you lose some confidence, there's just no time to get it back. And you need time to get it back sometimes, not just from game to game, but practice to practice, just earning that confidence. That's why I give an advantage to LeBron and Davis. And they can dial up. They were third, I think, in defense this year for the regular season. Obviously, Milwaukee was one. They were third. LeBron and Davis played great defense all year. We know Danny Green can play great defense. They've got fives that can really defend the paint. They've got two of them. I think that, I don't know. Those guys, I do think Milwaukee can win. I don't think Henry's wrong. Because I love Bledsoe. Middleton's good. Like they're a very good team for a reason. And I think they don't have to play the Clippers, the Lakers until the finals. That helps. The team that we've dealt with this for years. The team that fights through that conference finals, especially if there's not going to be a week in between games.
Right.
Like all of a sudden you just get done vanquishing Paul George and Kawhi, and now you got to go mess with Giannis. Like, yeah, I get it. But I just feel like it's LeBron. I've never been picking LeBron every year. I never picked him 4 straight years when he was in Cleveland. I didn't pick him to win any of them. He and Davis as a combination. I've been watching a lot of film. Frank Vogel's got to have some good stuff coming up for those two.
That's the question, David. So if the Bucks don't make it to the finals because someone beats them in the East, who will it be?
I like Toronto a lot. I like Boston too. I like Toronto a lot. I'm not a big believer that you have to have experience. It doesn't hurt though. What Toronto did last year, even though they don't allow themselves to believe that they beat a very injured Warriors team. That's just how players have to think. They're pragmatic to a degree to make sure they don't pierce their heart, right, and their confidence. They're pretty sure they were the best team, period. Yeah. And listen, they were great, and they were great this year. So I think if anyone beats Milwaukee, I would favor Toronto, and then I think Boston's very good, but not the level Toronto is.
Some good questions here. Does anyone know what time the board of governor meeting is today? I don't. Anyone else seen it?
No. In the afternoon, I feel like usually, but I could be wrong.
It might just be a vote too. It might be that they just like email a vote.
Right.
Yes or no?
Does the accelerated schedule favor the younger teams? If there's no week break, then that reduces the rest for LeBron and the Kawhi.
I mean, it definitely can, although the Lakers are going to whack some teams, and so their guys will get plenty of rest. And I don't think LeBron and Davis's physique will be in question. Some of the other guys maybe so. But yeah, I mean, you heard Jordan say this. I thought the documentary, which I don't think Henry has watched yet, in a way, I kind of envy him. It took me years to watch Game of Thrones, and I felt so good that I still have this gem out here that I can watch at some point. Not that it's a gem. It's no Game of Thrones. But Jordan's acknowledged that early in my career, I just had so much energy. And he didn't also say, and I was the best athlete on the planet too at the time. So that combination is just, it whacks people. And then he started thinking the game and whatever. Henry and I have said this for years, there is an advantage to being super athletic and healthy. Which is why we thought the Heat should add a bunch of young people to the roster when they got the big three. Like, play with a bunch of stud athletes with those guys.
Oh, yeah, you kill.
Yeah, that's what we thought anyway. But no, I don't think it's a bad point. Trainer's going to be working really hard, guys. Really hard. Really hard.
Devin asked, did you guys check out Dave McMenamin's article on the home court advantage and the demands they want? Did you see this article?
No.
I saw it, did not read it yet.
So there's like now we're testing my memory. There were just a lot of considerations since there's no such home court thing as home court advantage when everyone's playing on the same court. Right. We're talking about maybe you get to designate a player who gets a seventh foul without fouling out, or there were just a bunch of like creative.
Oh, I saw this, yeah.
And now I can't remember any of the rest of them.
It was an extra coaching challenge.
Look at Judy, she's the best.
Magic.
It was an extra coaching challenge.
Challenge. I think, Judy, if you scroll down, there's an image of like a poster with these things on it, or maybe it's in the video. There you go.
Yeah, I'm not in. Here it is. Here it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was it.
Extra coaching challenge. Transfer their actual hardwood home. Oh, come on now.
Oh no, though. Come on. What's wrong with that? Wait. Seriously, what's wrong with that? Wouldn't that be awesome to have the Boston Garden floor in Orlando?
More people having to get in there. We're trying to have a bubble here. You want to bring more people in, and are you gonna have your own people installing the court?
There's a stadium crew that's gonna have to exist in Disney anyway. Like,
there is
just a truck bringing like outside, right? Like, I don't think this is where the coronavirus.
It's a cool idea for sure. I hadn't thought about it. It's a very cool idea. Hell, if that's the case, bring their own PA announcer and their own scoreboard operator.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, there's not going to be any defense chance because there's no one in the stands yelling defense, but you can play the music.
Yeah. To be honest, like my main reaction to that story was like, okay, yeah, we don't have a way to make a home court advantage when we're all in one gym, so we have to be creative. And Twitter was basically like, how dare you be creative? Like, everybody was like, that's the most whack stuff I've ever heard. And it's like, what the fuck is up with us in sports where like new ideas are just like
people
new
get
ideas
crazy.
Are good. We want to innovate. That's the only way to be smart.
No, we want to be dumb, Henry. We don't like no innovation, nothing new. This is how it's always been. You know how human beings and our psychology works, because this is how I'm able to explain it. If you change it, I can't explain it, Henry. This is what I know. Leave it alone.
It's not gonna weird though, right? It's weird. It's such a strong force. Like every single. I mean, does Stephen A. Smith do anything? I'm not following this assiduously, but when he pops up on my Twitter, it's 100% to say, weird new stuff is the worst thing ever. Like, why? What's the why? What's the problem? Like,
now you sound like Ross from Friends.
Basketball was once a new thing. Like,
right.
This reminds me of. Okay, I used to produce.
So was 3-point shooting.
What's that?
So was 3-point shooting.
So was 3-point shooting. Like, so I used to produce
So
this radio
shot clock.
show in Madison, Wisconsin, and it was hosted by like a guy who was a little more conservative than me, and we got along fine. And this was a long time ago, but one day he went off on this giant thing about newfangled golf clubs. He did like 40 minutes of radio about how it was cheating to use like a Big Bertha, basically. I don't golf. I don't even know what the hell he was talking about. Phone's lit up. Everyone's going off. So basically, I'm like, all right, Dave, like, which clubs are okay to use?
Yeah.
Right? And he's like basically like the real clubs, the clubs like we've always had. I'm like, which clubs have we always had? And basically he settled on like, to him, it was a 1965 driver was like the last legitimate club. I'm like, does that feel like you're putting yourself in the middle of that story just a little bit, Dave? You know, like, does this seem like Dave's world where, you know, it's like it's comfortable to Dave. It doesn't mean it's a good fucking rule. You know what I mean?
I'd like Judy to notate this date. Maybe Randy could do it. That Henry Abbott knows what a Big Bertha is.
I remember when Big Bertha came out. Those are awesome clubs.
I play with Callaway's.
Do you play with Callaway? Okay.
I used to play with Callaway's till I had twins. My gorgeous custom clubs are in my office right over there.
I don't use them.
Once these rotten kids leave, I'll be playing golf again. Goddammit.
It's my worst nightmare of what happens on TrueHoop.
Big Bertha. I'm so glad you said that. But yeah, it used to be. Here's a novel thing. At one point, dribbling with your weak hand. Check out Bob Cousy tape or Dr. J.
Yeah.
I did not like the fish that saved Pittsburgh because Dr. J couldn't go with his left hand. I'm like, this isn't realistic. It turns out he really couldn't dribble with his left hand. I figured it was something weird going on. I don't know why they're hating innovation. We should come up with, well, you can't even do visiting team gets cold showers because I don't think they're showering there.
Probably not, yeah.
They might have to go back to the hotel. I know they're discussing it. I saw that.
That's what they're doing in the practice facility. I think that's crazy. Like, to me, I'm like, if you think you might have virus on you, take every shower you come across.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't take it to your car and then to your home.
Right.
Like, shower at the place. Like, yeah.
Ari mentioned it yesterday. I mean, when one person, and like, again, I'm not wishing for this, but the numbers say so. If one person tests positive, it's not just, all right, we quarantine him. That entire game is compromised now. And it's like, okay, well, and I just don't know that they have those. Again, we can't live in a world with zero risk. I understand that. But what are all the protocols that we have set up for when this happens? Now what are we going to do? And I don't know if they've thought this all the way through.
More to come. I have some insight there that's like off the record, but like,
Ooh.
I'm worried. I didn't write that thing yesterday just because they didn't answer my questions, right? Like, I also wrote it because I was like, I don't know. And I don't look. If the NBA said, like a lot of people are saying, including maybe even some of us, including maybe me, like, I'm just tired of being home all the time. Like, I want to do more stuff. The science remains exactly as it was, but I'm just going to take more risk, right? Or if the players are saying, I just want to play, or everyone says they want to make money, fine. Like, who can argue that? Like, we're all wrestling with this every day, every little decision, every grocery store trip.
Exactly right.
But if they're saying, well, we're like safety paramount, and we'll only reopen when the science says it's safe, and we're going to watch criteria like new cases, availability of tests, progress on antivirals, then that's a lie. That's not happening. We don't have that. We're not there, right? The only one we've moved on, according to Ari yesterday, is the availability test. So, yay. But yeah, to me, like, you can do it just because you want to do it, which is, it seems inarguable what's happening here. But I don't think you can do it because we got the go ahead from science.
No, definitely not that.
No, but messaging is so vital, and they should ask you to use that exact message of we cannot put the risk at zero. No matter what we do, there's more risk for someone to get infected than there would be if we're playing regular season games with injuries and automobiles or whatever. We're taking more risk now than ever before. However, we're going to do everything we can to limit that risk as much as possible. Here's steps 1 through 712, and we are going to police all of those. But we are going in. There's more risk than ever before that an NBA game has been played. If they took that approach, it would be helpful that at least we're getting some transparency.
But even then, they can't, right? Like, I mean, it sounds great, but like, we're going to do everything we can. It's like, okay, so are you going to invite people at risk into the bubble? Like, yes. Well, then you're not doing everything you can.
No, right.
Like, okay, are people going to wear masks? No. Well, then you're not doing everything you can. Like, are you going to play outside? No, then you're not doing everything you can. Like, and on and on and on and on, right? Like we're going to look at this like decision tree, and they're going to pick the dollars on a lot of branches of that tree. I mean,
Well,
hope I'm
that's
wrong.
the thing. Yeah.
But like, you know, to me, like they actually are they can't say that. They can't say to Vince Carter's mom that they're really looking out for his safety. They're looking out for a bunch of stuff. Somewhere in there is his safety, right? But I don't know. I want to know, like, we opened the show talking about like, what do you do with your kids, David? Right? Like, is Adam Silver going to be there with his kids?
Yeah.
Is Tillman Fertitta going to be there with his kids?
There's that.
Are they a little nervous about it? Oh, you're a little nervous? Oh, okay.
Right.
I'm a little nervous, you know.
Do you remember that the scene with the Aaron Brockovich movie? You guys seen that movie?
Oh yeah.
Where
Drink the water.
the attorneys for the first time, and she says that water key we brought in right from Hinckley, I think it was.
Exactly right.
That's what you're saying right there. Like, hey, you bringing your kids to this?
Yeah.
I know this. I'm not going to if they allowed. I'm the closest media of all of us for TrueHoop anyway. I'm not going. I'm damn sure not bringing my kids.
Wouldn't ask you to. Yeah.
Of course you wouldn't. Yeah. That's an unnecessary risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there are necessary risks, and that's what we're getting down to. I hope that in these next 7 weeks, 7.5 weeks, progress is made on that. But what you said to start the show, hope isn't a plan, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said. We seem to have a lot of hope right now.
The plan's set. Like they're voting on it today.
Right.
Like, so they're not going to change.
They're approving it today.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But it's not like they're going to, you can't take this plan and then inject science later. Like, you know what I mean? Like all they can do is take a couple extra showers and wear a mask a little more. Like they're not going to like not fly 300 people there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Horses out the barn door.
Yeah. Or actually, honestly, the big one, I really think we're going to end up, heaven forbid, like fingers crossed, everything goes well and no one, but if it all goes sideways and people are sick, I think we're going to look back at this one issue more than any other, which is when you get a positive test, do you stop play for contact tracing or not? I think that's the big one. Like, cause that's where, I can't find, I challenge anyone hearing this, I challenge you to find an expert who thinks that it's okay to just keep playing when you don't know who else has the virus. Because you're asymptomatic when you're a peak spread, when you're a major spreader, you're asymptomatic.
Yep.
And you might not show up on a test. So somebody has it in the bubble. That means some hotel worker, some bus driver, some coach, all the way down. There's going to be several more. Like Ari said, there's no case of just one positive test in the bubble, right? It's going to be a bunch of positive tests. And the question is like, will those other people get to keep spreading while the league keeps airing games or not? Like, and then that, like, if it just starts running around, it's running around and then everybody's at risk. And people, I don't know, not stop. I can't find anybody who thinks it's okay not to stop the whole league when you get a positive test to do the contact tracing. And then once you know everybody that they touched and everything who's at risk and you check all those people, then you restart. But that hasn't been discussed that I've seen in NBA circles.
Do we know they're not going to do that, Henry?
We know they have a fixed schedule, and we know that they've scenarioed out when the finals will start. Right?
Oh,
We know that.
I didn't realize the fixed schedule. But the answer is no. If they have a fixed schedule, the answer is no.
So Monday we're going to hear from the Roller Derby Association. It's all about tiers, right? So like if your local community has a low enough infection rate, and if you've had 2 weeks of practices without contact, and you've had the games with no fans and on, then you kind of earn the right to go up to having a schedule, right? And then if the local tests go up, et cetera, then you come back down the thing, right? If they were announcing a plan like that, that's a science-driven plan. That's a health-driven plan, right? Yep. But if you're announcing that the playoffs are going to start on this day, and we're going to have 7 games, and we're going to
money-driven plan.
Yeah.
Henry, who runs? I know the answer to this, but I want you to say it. Who runs that league?
The Roller Derby League?
Yeah.
Jay McManus, duh. No, I'm just kidding.
Who runs that league? Who made this decision to do it that way?
Oh, well, so we'll find out for sure on Monday, but like my understanding is that among the contestants in the league, among the athletes are a bunch of epidemiologists and scientists and doctors and nurses, and they wanted to reopen their league, so they put together a plan that was science-based. They felt safe with.
How many women were involved in that decision-making process?
Oh, yeah, great point.
That's my point. Yeah, we could use some of that in this league.
And also, it's a terrible thing not to have dollars at your disposal, but it's also a wonderful thing because
it's a freeing thing, right?
Like, what would you do for $1 billion? Most people, the answer is quite a lot and take quite a bit of risk for $1 billion, right?
You'd play a bunch of games in a bubble at Disney World. That's what you do for $1 billion.
Yeah,
that's right.
Very true.
We are.
Okay. And one last little stab at basketball talk. Who's going to be the 8th team in the West once we get?
I'll say Memphis.
Yeah. I just to make trouble, I'll say Portland. If they are, by the way, please let's save this tape because the odds are not good. Like,
will you be watching those games?
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll watch those games. I'll make my kids watch. Dad, we want to go outside.
No. Right.
It's roller time.
There is, to head into my kid's birthday weekend on a lighter note, I know we have stuff tomorrow, but there is a chance, I realize, separate from all the terrible stuff, it could just be really fun to watch basketball. It's really been a unique situation. Like, I feel like when our weather finally warms up, when we start going to the beach again after spring break, whatever, it's kind of a tradition. When we first get to the beach, we all run around the sand like we're puppy dogs. I really think we're going to see some of that. Like, woohoo, we're playing basketball again. Fantastic. I want that. Like, they're kids. They they're grown men, but they love this game. And but I can't stop thinking about this. The seniors involved in the NBA. It's hard for me to wrap my arms around what we're doing to ask them to coach and lead or referee. Right? These are big issues here. This virus is nothing to fuck with, and we're asking them to do that.
Yeah, I feel like that joy sits on a foundation of safety, right?
Yeah.
And this is where the George Floyd part matters a lot too, right? Like, do you feel safe? I mean, honestly, like, I don't know, Jarod, how do you feel about the local Florida police?
I mean,
I just posted something for our talk tomorrow down in Sarasota. Another knee on the neck.
I saw that.
Look at that.
Check our document out, Jarod. You'll see it. I posted.
Okay, I'll take a look. I mean, it's so mixed, right? Like, first of all, this site it's called TrueHoop, so we love basketball. Of course, we want to see it played. This is the NBA is our favorite league in the entire world. We love it, but the question is, at what cost, right? Like, how much what is the value of my personal entertainment, right? Like, now granted, part of it's also like our livelihoods, right? It's what we do to make money too. So there's that piece of it, but it's like, how much is that worth? I don't know. It's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, we should, I guess, if we're looking out for our own best interests, be all in favor of just play, right? But
then we wouldn't be TrueHoop. We wouldn't be true if we did that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And look, to be honest, I'm super disappointed. If I'm honest, I'm super disappointed in like basketball media. By and large, like, I don't know, that thing I wrote yesterday was like, how come Adam Silver's silent on everything, right? Like, that's a concern. Like, why am I, like, startup guy, not the one, like, do you know how many people we know with, like, guaranteed contracts and salaries and benefits who basically are very little risk by making this case? Like, or if you're, it's hard for the league to blow off a media partner, right? If you're like a well-positioned multi-millionaire journalist at ESPN, like, you can really do some damage here, right? But me, I'm the guy, like
but that is,
startup, I'm the only one who'd be like, can the commissioner fucking talk once in a while?
Not just sports, Henry. That's sort of our larger problem with media in general, right? Like, these media companies and entities are owned by people who have clear political interests and money interests, right? And that is going to slant the coverage because that's how we pay the bills around here. And it's just, but the money is everything, right? It's how politics works, right? You can't win elections without money. Well, that means you got to do, right? Like, it's just how everything works. It's about the money.
Yeah. I think it's from outside, it's hard to understand how transactional it is. Like, it's not like they're getting payments to take a certain position, but there's just sort of a culture. And it's not. I don't think the most criticisms of ESPN, the simple ones, the Deadspin version of ESPN, was not my experience of it at all. But I do think there's it's about your next review, and it's about who in the top reaches of the company are fighting for you in meetings you're not in, like in this kind of stuff, right? And you can lose a little support. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to get all crazy, but okay, one last thing. David was wondering about should anybody look into technologically aided remote coaching, booths, headsets, monitors, earpieces?
Yep.
Robert Pira suggested that many years ago.
It's a good point, because David's like they seem to be the most at-risk population, right? They're the oldest people, them and the referees, right? Like they're among the oldest people on the court. So it would seem so for the coaches, but I don't know that they thought about it.
If we're testing really well, that'll give them at least some. I know this. I would love to know if my kids every morning when I see them, I'd love to know they just had a test and it was negative because they were at work the day before. They're all wearing masks at work and all of that, and they're outdoors. But still, I'd feel better if they were testing. I would think they'd feel better too. But I'm not convinced they're doing it.
This is okay. Here's my radical. Dave's gonna freak out. Do we need a coach?
Oh, I was hoping you'd say, do we need owners? That's a whole other thing. I like the idea. Let's play in one arena for a weekend. The next week we go to a different arena. We'll play 2 games in 3 days at these different arenas, and don't need owners, and the players can own everything. But you need a coach.
I mean,
or LeBron's never coming out.
I was gonna say he's never gonna fit.
5 guys will play.
I think it's a good intellectual exercise, at least, right? Like so. One expert I interviewed last week told me that basically, if you confine the population to young people, I don't want to start a whole fight with this, but like he said that this health stats are like the flu.
Are likely what?
The flu. Like, and then, and yesterday Art said the risk goes up exponentially as you get older. So like literally your central question of what if someone dies is really a question of the old people in the bubble.
Right, what if someone old
dies? With real death as the question. Like, do you need a coach? Like,
oh, no.
Are we really sure that the San Antonio Spurs without Greg Popovich in every timeout are just screwed? Are we really sure?
No, definitely not. I totally agree on that. And the coaches have the right to say, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that. I think someone of prominence is not going to go to the bubble for whatever reason.
I've asked, if you look at my phone, I've texted Rick Carlisle, who's the head of the coach station, like a bunch of times, being like, "Hey, like, can we talk? Like, do you feel like coaches are safe?" I'm like, he's just like, nothing.
He's just like, I got nothing, Henry.
I don't know what's happening, but he doesn't want to talk about it. I'll tell you that much.
Is he responding or just ignoring?
No, it's all me. It's like that blue thing where it's just like, oh, Henry. Okay.
That's always how you know when you text the source, Henry. Like, all right, they're not responding, right? It's like, okay, I got something here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe we'll get more into that later. All right, we used a lot of time. David, happy birthday to Max and Rachel. Thank you, Judy.
Birthday twins.
Jarod, this is big time, man. Thanks.
Yeah, listen, man, I gotta go load up on some Motrin and stuff.